Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 23rd day of August, 2023, Wednesday of the 20th week of the year, the 20th week in Ordinary Time. Coming to you this morning from the inside of our church here at St. Francis, which in a couple of minutes will be filled with the entirety of the Franciscan School. This is our Mass of the Holy Spirit. This is our first Mass of the year. So we've been in school for one whole week, and now we gather together to do what happens on every Wednesday during our school year together for Eucharistic liturgy. So I believe that sixth grade, seventh grade, one of the upper grades has it today. So we'll be able to see what that's going to be like and introduce our kindergartners, the class of 2032 or something like that, 2032, to the wonder of what it means to celebrate Eucharist together as an entire school. 660 strong, somewhere up there. So they're more than one half of 600. Sorry. So it's 650, 660, something like that. So it's the largest school in the United States, largest Catholic school in the United States now, I believe. Yes, at least this side of the Rockies, but I think it's the whole United States too. So the Franciscan School. There will be special readings today because it's the Mass of the Holy Spirit, but for everybody else who will be attending Mass or looking at Mass online or not being able to get to Mass, today's readings continue with the saga of the book of Judges. Again, everything's a saga in the Old Testament, the first couple of books. And here, Israel wants a king. Why? Because everybody else has a king. And Jesus is supposed to be their king, but they don't want Jesus to be God is supposed to be their king, but they don't want God as their king because they can't see, touch, or feel as God. And so they want something tangible. And so they want an earthly king and a human king, just like everybody else has. And so they throw up Abimelech, which is a great name. Abimelech is just this guy who's able to get enough support for himself to kind of to be a declared king. Now, again, there are judges that are being raised up left and right to help Israel out as, again, God continues to guide it, in possessing the promised land and things like that, but it's not enough for them because the judges do their job and then they go back to what they were doing. They want a king like everybody else has. And so I forget what his name is, but there is a prophet who raises himself, or who is raised up by God, who basically says, if all of the plants and trees of the world said they wanted a king over them, each of those individuals would basically say they were not sufficient enough to be king, and that terrible things would happen if they were to be made king. And so the thing is, any human being is not sufficient to be king over you, Israel, because God is your king. And if you decide to go the human way of getting a human king, well, things aren't going to work out well for you. And it's true. So any kind of leadership that we have never ever works well, or as well as we think it can work as human beings. And for us as believers, it's always kind of to remember that the one who is supposed to guide our affairs and direct our lives is not one like ourselves, surprisingly enough, but one who can do more for us than we could ever do for ourselves. In the gospel today, oh, dear. I think I've forgotten what it is. Once again, because I'm getting ready for this Mass of the Holy Spirit. The Mass of the Holy Spirit's gospel, again, you just look at that. Mass of the Holy Spirit's gospel is, again, finding the pearl of great price or the treasure in a field. And the idea is that once you find that thing that you want so badly and that gives so much meaning to you, you'll do whatever you can to possess it. That is a kind of what, our own learning and our own understanding of the world around us is supposed to lead to. The desire, to possess more and more of this knowledge, not to possess more and more of the thing, and not to possess more and more of the knowledge so that it makes us greater or more important or more pumped up than anybody else. But it is the sense of a knowledge that allows life to have its fullness. And if we discover that for ourselves, how could we not want to share that with others? And that's really, again, what any kind of education that is done under the guise of faith, under the guise of Christ, under the guise of God, is supposed to lead us to. It's what St. Anthony, it's what St. Bonaventure discovered and understood in their own lives, and why education was so important to them, not because of the knowledge that they could attain in being smart people, but in being able to be people who could share with others the importance of what they knew, so that their lives could be made as full as Anthony and Bonaventure's lives were. For all of us who learn things, and for all of us who embrace the world around us through the gift of knowledge and wisdom, may we take what we learn and what we know, always not just for the betterment of ourselves, but for the betterment of each other and for the glory of God. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.